Okay, during this video, what I'd like to show is what happens as Uranus goes through the houses. Uranus rules Aquarius, and what is showing up on this beginning of this video is the words and traits that Aquarius has, and the house that it rules, which is the 11th house, and what Uranus brings with it when it goes through the houses. And so Uranus rules ingenuity and individuality, and what it does is bring all the traits of Aquarius, and Aquarius can be rebellious, and the house rules the society at large, and altruism, and the energy can be odd and unusual and unexpected, inventive. It rules big tech. It rules electricity and explosions and lightning, and it can be ingenious and bring ingenious inspirations where it travels, and visionary thinking, uh, thinking out of the box, and unconventional thinking, and it brings an urge for freedom from convention. And it's humanitarian and unique and unpredictable and perceptive and eccentric and erratic and impersonal and aloof. And so any or all of those qualities can show up wherever Uranus goes through the houses. So let's see how it affects the houses. This is the house, the 11th house. It's showing where it shows on a chart. It is the 11th house, and Aquarius is an air sign. It's intellectual and persevering and a fixed sign, and that house rules society at large and your friendships. And so when Uranus moves to the first house is ruled by Aries, and that's a fire sign, and it's motivated and dynamic, and it's a cardinal sign, and that house is the house of self-image. And so when Uranus comes to the house of self-image, it brings an extra oomph on wanting to show your individuality, and your revolutionary side, your thoughts of rebellion, your urge for freedom, your courage. You could, because Mars rules your energy, it could make you especially energetic toward the things that Uranus rules, toward the Aquarian traits. So it can be bring unexpected thoughts about your own self-image, because the energy is explosive. It's sudden. It's unexpected. It brings these out of the box thinking. So you might really change your whole image. Usually Aquarians, people with Aquarius and as an emphasis in their chart, may dress unusually. They may have a really unusual sense of how they dress, and so you may, when Uranus comes there, you might start dressing unusually, or you might feel like you are unusual or odd. You're Because Mars rules the self-image, and that house rules the self-image, you might just have an unusual idea about yourself, or you might be especially ingenious about something and inventive, and and really put a lot of effort toward it, all your energy toward it. Or you might find some kind of exercise that is unusual that you want to do. And anyway, it's a combination of the two signs, Aries and Aquarius together. And uh, Aquarius is an air sign, and Aries is a fire sign, and air feeds fire. So they enhance each other. And so let's go to the next house. The next house is Taurus, and it's ruled by Venus. And Taurus is an earth sign. It's practical, persevering. It's a fixed sign. It rules the second house of values, money, and possessions. And the money is money you earn through your own efforts. And since Venus is its ruler and it rules two houses, you might, where Uranus comes around to that house, you might have an effect on that other house that Venus also rules. So Venus rules Libra also, and that's an air sign. It's an intellectual and dynamic and cardinal, and it rules the seventh house of partners and marriages. But for now, looking at the second house, the focus is more on the monies that you, things that luxuries, and let's go to this next slide. Um, your luxuries and money and that you earn through your own efforts. And now Taurus traits are more grounded. They're an earth sign, and they're cautious and conventional and determined and efficient and industrious and introverted and loving, and can be really connected to material life, and but they're patient and persistent and can be possessive, and they're usually reliable and sensual and warm, and could be jealous and stubborn or self-indulgent. But so all of those traits, Uranus comes to, if it comes transiting that house, it affects all of those traits. So maybe you'll pick some unusual luxuriant food this time, or rebel against what the way you've been obtaining your money, or rebel against what used to be your values, um, or conventional values or conventional ways of creating money. You might come up with some ingenious way of making money because Uranus rules ingenuity, and it could be through big tech. Uranus rules big tech and electrical insight. Insight comes uh, unexpectedly, and explosive thoughts could around how you can make your money. Or it also rules the house of gains, so it's a good thing to combine it with the energy of Venus, which is the planet of good luck. So it could bring good luck in an unusual way to your money. Or how a revolutionary way to make money could come to you. And that can affect your seventh house of partners and marriage. And then the third house, when Uranus goes to the third house of Gemini, then that's an air sign also. So combined with Uranus, which rules Aquarius, they're both air signs, and that's an intellectual atmosphere, and it's adaptable. In Gemini, it's adaptable and mutable, and that it rules the third house of the conscious mind and your communications and your siblings and elementary education. And once again, this is a house that is ruled by a planet that rules two signs, so it may affect that other sign. when Uranus comes in there, because it will connect with Mercury, which rules both the Gemini house and the Virgo house, and those signs, the Gemini sign and the, so your third house and your sixth house, and the sixth house is your house of work. It's ruled by the sign of Virgo, and that's more practical and mutable, and also your health and daily routines and habits and so forth. But what we're focusing on now is the third house, which is more your communications and your education, and could be affecting your siblings. And so let's go to the okay, this shows the combination of what Uranus brings, all of a sudden revolutionary thinking and explosive energy to your communications that are on a local level. Mercury rules more local communications, and it rules the mind, it rules your learning, it rules intellect, it rules when it affects the other house that it rules, it affects your daily routines and the way you learn your daily tasks and so forth, and your caretaking. But in this house, it rules your siblings, so you might have more unusual communications with your siblings. You might have some uh, ingenious thoughts that you talk out or something with your siblings, or figure out ways to because of it rules because Uranus rules the house of gains, you might come up with some idea that's revolutionary and to obtain gains in your life, and could be through or affect big technology. There could be some type of communications through technology, through uh, um, yeah, the way that you communicate might be more talking about your effect and things that you want to change and revolutionize for that will affect the collective of society. So I think that's it on that one. And then uh, when it goes to the fourth house, when Uranus goes to the fourth house, you might that's the sign that rules the home and your mother. It's Cancer, and it's a water sign. It's intuitive, could be psychic, dynamic, and cardinal. And so Uranus brings its effect to that. It's ruled by the moon, which is your emotional world. So your moods might fluctuate, or your home life might fluctuate. Something unusual and unexpected might happen while Uranus is transiting that house. Or if Uranus is in your birth chart in that house, then you might have a very unusual home life. But generally, we're if it goes in transit, you might find yourself suddenly thinking out of the box, or suddenly thinking new thoughts and revolutionary thoughts and rebellious thoughts, and uh, things that affect your emotions and your feelings. You might feel unusual, or feel odd, or feel like you don't know who you are. You suddenly want to be free of the home or something. You might want to break out of your usual routines and your usual home life. And now Cancer rules that sign. They're a conscientious sign, and usually calm and domestic and imaginative and introverted, and intuitive and can be moody or quiet or protective, but Cancer itself rules, I mean, that house rules your feelings and your emotions. And so where Uranus is coming, it affects your moods and your sensitivity and your feelings around the home, your main nurturer. It could affect your mother. Something unexpected could happen with your emotions involving your mother, or yeah, anything around the home life, and or your mother or your main nurturer could cause sudden changes and um, revolutionary or rebellious changes, or freedom feelings. Um, anyway, I think that's enough on that. Uh, okay, the fifth house is ruled by Leo, and Leo is your ego and how you show up. Like from where the last house was the home, but it was your emotional world, and uh, the sun ruling Leo is your expressive world, so how you express. And so it when Uranus comes to this house, it'll bring all the unusual energy to your how you express. And so Leo is a fire sign, so it's motivated and persevering. It's a fixed sign. It rules the house of entertainment and romance. So those are the things that are being affected when Uranus comes around to that house. It comes around and you might suddenly have some big idea, some unusual, revolutionary, ingenious idea about how to entertain or how to change your sense of creativity, some creative project, or even your romance. The way you show your romance might become unusual. Um, your sense of things may change and become your sense of how you create and so forth. It might come across as odd to other people. It might just be out of the ordinary for you, how you express and how you go about creating, and how you the things that you think of for your that reflect on you, how you um, show up to other people might suddenly become very weird or odd or unusual or ingenious or inventive, and it might be maybe involving big tech, or it could cause you to suddenly have a windfall, because that's the house of Uranus rules the house of gains. So maybe something creative that you do could suddenly give you a windfall of gains, and or through a romantic connection you might gain something, and it would usually be in a sudden, unexpected way. And then we're up to that other house that Mercury rules, which is the Virgo house. And remember that wherever Mercury is, it also brings the communications house into play, and your lower education, your lower mind, your practical mind. And Virgo is also a practical sign. It's an earth sign and adaptable, and it rules that sixth house that we're looking at right now. And that's the house of work and health and daily routines and pets and your habits, your daily, how you conduct yourself on a daily basis, what you do to take care of yourself, your health, and your work, and your daily tasks, and anything that you have to take care of, any caretaking that you do. It rules nurses. It rules the way that you care for things. And Virgo itself is a sign that is analytical and dedicated and discriminating and efficient and health conscious, helpful, introverted, logical, practical, precise, punctual, responsible, pure, sensible, can be fussy or overcritical or worrying. And so what we'll see that when Uranus comes to that house, you're more likely to see some unusual changes in your daily tasks, or some ingenious way to perform your daily tasks and routines, and the way you organize. And so you might come up with some really unusual stuff, or you might be having in your work life, something unusual might happen that could be involved with big tech, or it could be just something explosive happens at your work, or some unusual thing while Uranus transits that house, some sort of maybe in that you something that you learn, something that you the way that you take care of your health, or the way that you conduct your work or your daily habits could be interrupted by this explosive energy, or something sudden, or could just be something ingenious that you bring to that that comes up, some ingenious inventive idea of a way to conduct your work or your health or your daily routines, or how you take care of your pets or your habits, or the way that you take care of anything that you care about. It's a caretaking sign. So, I mean, Virgo is a caretaking sign, and Mercury rules that. And so where Mercury is, we're combining the energy of both Gemini and Virgo and Uranus there. Now Uranus rules big tech, and Gemini rules lower tech, like computers and your phones and so forth. So together, all of this could be communications about that, also about your daily routines and ideas of rebellious ideas or revolutionary ideas around your daily tasks or your health or your habits. And then we're looking at the seventh house of Libra, and we spoke already about Venus ruling two houses, and Libra is an air sign. It's intellectual, it's dynamic, it's cardinal. It rules the seventh house of partners and marriage, and it's any kind of partners. And so when we're looking at that house, anything that Venus touches, it also might touch your second house, because it affects your daily, how you bring in your values and how you bring in money and so forth. But for now, we focus on the seventh house matters, which is partnerships and marriage. And um, uh, now Libras have a sense of justice and fairness and partnership, and it's an aesthetic. It's really important to have everything beautiful and aesthetically pleasing to a Libra, and a lot of symmetry and charm, and they're peacemakers and refined and kind and flirtatious, and it's a cooperative sign, a cooperative energy, and they're outgoing. And so let's see what Uranus brings to that house when it comes there. Is a revolutionary way of dealing with partners, or a rebellious way of dealing with partners. You could rebel against things that have been happening with a partner, or you're in your marriage. um, it, it could just bring ingenious ideas there. Both Aquarius, which Uranus rules, and Libra are air signs, so air feeds air, and so they could be a lot of intellectual stuff going on while Uranus is in that house. It doubles the intellectual aspects. And so it might be in your partnerships and in your marriage, there's some ingenious ways of communicating with each other. I don't know why that keeps flashing like that, but you might feel more rebellious from the other side of it. You might feel more rebellious against partners and against your marriage while that is in there, because you want to be more individual and feel like you want to be more individual. It's just while it's transiting that house. And you might have unusual ways of expressing your love while it's in that house. So, or yeah, that flashing's really bothering me. I don't know why it's flashing like that. Let's see. But anyway, Uranus, and this combines the traits of Aquarius, which are odd and unusual and ingenious and inventive and thinks out of the box. Unconventional thoughts might affect your partnerships and marriage while it's transiting that house. And this is the 8th house of, which is ruled by Scorpio, and Pluto is the ruler of Scorpio. And Scorpio is a water sign. It's intuitive, psychic, persevering, a fixed sign. It rules the house of death, sex, and rebirth, and secrets and obsessions and your psychology, inheritances, money that comes to you from outside sources, your inner power, the occult, death, sex, transformations. It can be competitive and strong-willed and possessive and magnetic, and rules sexuality, can be determined and forceful and powerful and fixated and secretive, possessive, probing, and a psychologist. It's a psychological house. And so when Uranus transits there, your sense of psychology might just really become rebellious or unusual, and suddenly unexpected thoughts come to you psychologically, or you might some unexpected secret might come to the surface that Uranus brings up, and it could transform how you think, and you might have an ingenious way of dealing with your secrets, or you might be especially ingenious on matters of the occult or matters of Pluto rules Scorpio, which rules the study of astrology, and Aquarius rules the practice of astrology. So you might suddenly have insights toward astrology, and you might suddenly understand it better or something when Uranus transits that house for you. Or you might have some kind of ingenious transformation because Uranus is coming along and showing you how to transform the society, and how to transform and rebel against what you psychologically had established already in your mind about society or about big tech or um, about death, about the occult, about the way that money comes to you from outside sources. And the the traditional ruler of that house was Mars. And so that's your self-image too. And it's also, that makes a double effect of, because Mars was the original ruler of Scorpio, and Scorpio rules the house that of money coming to you from outside sources. Uranus could bring unusual ways of bringing money to you from outside sources, and it could be through any of the ways that Scorpio rules, which through some transformative energy, it transforms the way that you possibly are having money come to you, or it could be through a sexual avenue or a sex partner that you find some unusual way to make money, or you can become obsessed with things that Uranus comes along and gives you maybe a different obsession than you already had, or a different way of looking at your obsessions, or a different way of looking psychologically toward things that are considered more the darker things, the occult things, or the under the surface matters, secrets and so forth. You might come up with some unusual thoughts or rebel against what was before, and you want maybe transform that your psychological outlook about unusual things, or about, maybe it'll transform your ideas on the occult or something, or something that you have a psychologically set in your mind, or your obsessions, or you might have a sudden insight about your own psychological makeup. And then we're looking at the ninth house of Sagittarius, which is a fire sign. It's a motivated, adaptable, mutable sign, and it rules the ninth house of the higher mind, long distance and foreign travel, and connections and religion. And Sagittarius are that house rules the higher mind, education, higher education, long distance and foreign connections, and foreign travel and long distance travel. It's an optimistic sign. It's expansive, and it expands what it touches. Is philosophical, and it rules organized religion and abundance. It brings abundance and good fortune. It's an enthusiastic sign. It's idealistic and jovial and upbeat, and it can be outspoken and tactless, but that's kind of the traits of Sagittarius and that house mixed together. And it can be philosophical and restless, and it's considered the travelers. And so when Uranus comes there, you might have some unusual thoughts or ideas about long distance and foreign connections, or long distance and foreign travel. So you could suddenly have revolutionary ideas uh, uh, connected with some long distance communication or foreign communications, big tech matters or something, through electronics, it could be, or about religion. You might have some sudden insight, that a way that you never looked at things before about formal religion, because Jupiter and Sagittarius, that house rules formal religion. Another house rules, the 12th house rules spirituality, but the ninth house rules formal religion and your theology and philosophy, and it is a fire sign, so and Aquarius an air sign, and air feeds fire, so they mix together uh, quite well, and it brings all this unusual thinking and individuality and rebellious energy to uh, and freedom energy that to the house of Sagittarius and the ruler Jupiter, and that so the energy is Sagittarius mixed with Aquarius, and unusual ideas and ways of dealing with long distance and foreign communications and travel, and your philosophy and your religion, and may have a complete change in revolutionary way of thinking of religion, come up with some inventive way that you think about religion, or even invent a new religion while it's going in that house. Or if you have it in your, if you have Uranus in that house in your natal chart, you might be a trailblazer in new ways of thinking about religion or theology, or long distance matters, or yeah, it's a fortunate sign of Sagittarius, and Jupiter is a fortunate aspect to, of course, you look at your whole chart and other things can take away that, but while Uranus is in that house, there may be some unusual odd things happen on long trips, or with foreign communications or trips. So it might be just some unusual explosive thing happen while you're on a trip. And then the next house is the house of career, your father, the government, any kind of structure. It's ruled by Capricorn. It's the 10th house. It's practical, it's dynamic, it's a cardinal sign. And Capricorns are structured, and that house rules restrictions and responsibilities and methods and methodology. It can be methodical energy and forces toward Capricorns are ambitious. They that house rules structures of all kinds, so a governmental and political structure it could be, or how you structure yourself. It's a persevering energy, realistic and serious, and can be pessimistic. It represents your limitations. It represents father and rules and fears and obstructions, and it's a conservative sign. It's disciplined and persevering energy, and a Capricorn usually seeks status and money and power, and can be rigid, and can be loner or miserly, and very diligent and conventional. So all of those traits combine, and when Uranus comes into that house, then you might be revolutionary in your way of structuring your career and your career life, or you may see your father as unusual during the time that Uranus is transiting that house, or you might come up with some inventive way to structure your life, or limits to your life might suddenly seem very odd, or your responsibilities may seem very odd, or you may have odd fears, unusual fears all of a sudden from Uranus, from the effect that Uranus brings. And it could involve government and political thinking. It could be uh, older men. That house rules older men, not just your father, but older men. You might have some come into contact with some really unusual older men that's revolutionary and rebellious and might make you think in a different way, an unusual way than you're used to, or an ingenious way than you're used to, or bring you ideas of how to affect the collective of a society in a, by by the way that you handle your career. If while it's in that house, Uranus may bring explosive, unusual things to your career somehow. So might just completely blow you out of the water in your expected things that you expect to happen in your career, or your responsibilities might suddenly, you might find some unusual way to deal with your responsibilities and your limitations and your restrictions. So that brings the energy of an Aquarius to a Capricorn, and both ambitious. The original ruler of Aquarius was Saturn, and Saturn rules the 10th house of career. So there's also usually some type of, could be governmental, or it could be some type of structure to the way that you handle society is affected through Uranus coming to that house. Anyone with a lot of planets up in those two houses, the 11th and 10th, usually affect the society at large, or have a outer appearance of affecting a lot of people. So anyway, the next house is the house of Aquarius. So everything that we've talked about that Uranus does, all this explosive energy and so forth, Aquarius is an air sign. It's intellectual, it's persevering, and a fixed sign. And the house is society at large and your friendships. So you might have unusual friendships too. And while Uranus is there, you can double the trouble, double the fun. So you've got uh, this explosive, rebellious energy wherever Uranus it travels. And so you might be especially perceived as especially unusual and unique, and people may see you as very unusual, or like a genius, or like you don't think in the way that other people think. And so there would be an extra emphasis on all the things that Uranus brings, and all the things that Aquarius brings, all an extra effect on being revolutionary in your thinking about the collective of society. And there could be more unusual things happen during the transit of Uranus in that house. And it could involve big tech, or from affect the whole of society. And the traditional ruler, as I mentioned in the last slide, is Saturn, which rules government structure and political structure. And it could be something that affects the collective of society, that some really unusual energy suddenly comes, that and it's always, if you have any Aquarius, wherever you have Aquarius in your chart is where you rebel. And I mean, like if it's in a different house, you're going to have this rebellious feeling in one part of your chart. This is your how you feel towards society. So and it may be that you affect society, but uh, while Uranus transits in there, it's affecting your perceptions of society and your individuality, and so you might really change how you decide to have something unusual for the way you dress or the way you come across to people, more unusual than usual, um, less conventional, more unique, might suddenly become more unique. And then we have the 12th house of Pisces, and that's a water sign. It's intuitive and adaptable and mutable. It rules the house of the unconscious. And um, Pisces is a water sign. Um, all water signs have a touch of the psychic and intuitive. They pick up things under the surface. It's a submerged feeling, but with Pisces, the Pisces is the one that's completely unbound. It has no boundaries. It dissolves boundaries. So whatever's in that house for you, it brings this boundless energy. And um, now Pisces is your, well, that house rules your unconscious motivations and inspirations from the divine and your imagination. So it might enhance your imagination uh, while Uranus comes to that house. You might suddenly have not only these unusual thoughts or rebellious thoughts, not only that, but you might have um, uh, divine inspirations that are unusual. And now that sign, it rules spirituality, it rules addictions and isolation and escapism and hospitalization and incarcerations, creative inspirations, illusions, dreams, and dreaming. And it's a humble energy, and it rules idealism, and it's usually the people are introverted that have Pisces in their chart. They're artistic, can be charitable and impressionable and timid. But let's see, let's go to the next slide. So when Uranus is coming into that house, you might invent your own spiritual path, and you might rebel against your spiritual path, or you might have some type of revolutionary thing happen that confuses you or that affects your imagination, might have some unusual, ingenious imaginings or creative imaginings. And where Uranus is, it's your sense of freedom, and with Neptune and Pisces and the imagination, it dissolves the boundaries of your imagination. So and it uh, dissolves that your inhibitions. So you might become more addictive when Neptune is prominent in your chart, or it rules addictions or hospitalizations. It rules loss, and of course, all things aren't bad in that house. No house or no sign is all bad. Each of them have different sides, and the traditional ruler of that house is Jupiter, and that's the planet of good fortune and expansion, and the foreign and long distance communications and things. So and also formal religion and spirituality is ruled by that house. And so together you might have some inventive way of thinking about about religion and spirituality. You might have sudden insights on a spiritual level, sudden insights sights of connection to the divine, to divine inspiration, and a connection to the divine. Some psychic thing comes up in an unexpected way to your mind. And I mean, I'm calling it psychic. Psychic is, you know, some people don't believe in psychic, but it's the energy that's under the surface, and it could come to your mind in a revolutionary way. It could come up in a very unique, you could come up with very unique ways of dealing with your spirituality or your daily life. Or you might isolate yourself to think about religion or spirituality, and come up with some sudden unusual thoughts on those. It isn't all spirituality, it's also addiction. So hopefully you don't have some unusual way of thing that you're going to get addicted to, or you might feel addicted to being a rebel or being a revolutionary. You might, your imagination might be full of revolutionary ideas and sudden unexpected thoughts of being how to rebel against the collective of society. So it's just the combination of Aquarius and Pisces and Sagittarius energy. And Sagittarius is a jovial, happy energy. Usually it can have a quick temper because it does rule, it is ruled by fire, but so you've got fire, air, and water mixed together here. And so it's just kind of Neptune is this nebulous energy. Pisces is this nebulous energy. The 12th house is this nebulous energy. It's boundless. It has no boundaries. So your mind can run away with you on imagining, and it can um, make you lose contact with reality. But uh, hopefully that isn't what happens. Or it just may be that you really immerse yourself into an unusual form of spirituality, and you check yourself out to of regular life and really immerse yourself into an unusual form of religion, an unusual form of spirituality, or unusual thinking and imagining of unusual creative thoughts. So you just might lose yourself in daydreaming about those things, and you might have a lot of unusual dreams while Uranus transits that house. Anyway, I think that's the last of this. So thanks for listening.